heard this before. Match the frequency of your dreams. But what does it actually mean? In my previous videos, I briefly explained about frequencies. And I want to break this down for you guys so you can finally unstuck yourself from this reality that you are fighting so hard with, and you can finally access the reality that you're dreaming of. And so when we're talking about frequencies, a lot of people think like, oh, the frequency is totally related to your vibrations, and you need to be in a high elevated emotional state, and you need to be gratitude 24/7. Let's debunk this theory because this is not it. Frequency, when we look at the terminology frequency, what is frequency? Frequency is how many times an event happens in a period of time. When we bring this concept to our reality, what does it mean? It means how frequently you're doing something, right? How frequently do you go to the grocery store? How frequently do you exercise? How frequently do you brush your teeth? With what frequency do you do something, right? But when it comes to manifesting, to changing your reality, how frequently you are being the way you're being. That's what your frequency means. How frequently you are being the way you're being. When I say being the way you're being is your self-concept, is your predominant thoughts, your emotionally charged thoughts. It is also your assumptions of reality. So let's dive deeper into this. We all have a vast range of frequencies, and these frequencies are different to different subjects. Like I might have a totally different frequency. I might be frequency who am I frequently being. I may be totally different in regards to money, and I might have a totally different frequency in regards to love. So we have so many different frequencies in different areas of our lives. That being said, when we are, let's say, in regards to money, when we are in a lower frequency, which by the way is not lower or higher, it's just different frequencies, just like the radio, you turn to different frequencies. One plays reggae, other plays Latin music, the other one is like classical music, right? The other one is gospel. So it's not one better than the other, it's just different frequencies. Let's think about someone who is a homeless person, who he is being. Let's just talk about in regards to money. Who that person is being in regards to money is lack. So therefore, everything that he experiences in his reality is lack. He cannot perceive opportunities of a job that pays like 2K a month. He cannot perceive whatsoever $1 million opportunity. Why? Because as you raise frequencies, as you raise your state of being, you expand your perception of the field. You perceive more possibilities. You are connected with more possibilities. So when you hear this, everything already exists, there's infinite possibilities, you are going to unlock new levels of possibilities when you start raising your state of being, when you start changing your state of being. The same thing goes in regards to love. Someone who is dating a narcissist or who is in a toxic relationship, other people who doesn't have this issue in their life, who mastered this already, they might look at that person and say, oh my goodness, why is she accepting breadcrumbs? Why? Because it's obvious for you, because there are a vast variety of possibilities, right? You can see more possibilities than this person who is limited to that toxic partner. And so the game of changing frequencies is a game of understanding that your conscious mind thinks in thoughts and your subconscious mind thinks in frequency. This is key if you want to change your reality. And I'll get deeper into this, but I want you to understand that we are energy. Everything is energy, right? And because of our lack of awareness of this game of frequencies, we are leaking our energy by paying attention into the physical reality, into something that we don't want to experience. and we are solidifying it into our reality because we perpetuate our state of being. When we are paying attention, the phrase says it all. We are paying with our energy. So if you want to master your energy, your frequency, your life, you need to master your energy. What are you paying your energy to? When you look at the 3D reality, let's pretend you are homeless, knock on wood. I don't like to play with my imagination to imagine bad things, but if you're homeless, you are paying attention, your energy is paying attention at the physical reality of there is no opportunities for me, right? I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. This is all there is. That's where you're paying your energy, and that's the reality you're getting back. Now, the reason why we are so trapped is because the game of life, the matrix, let's say, is a game of consciousness, is a system of consciousness. The people who designed the world the way it is now, they're very smart and they understand about all of this. And the only way you can change your frequency, your reality, is by you overriding your state of consciousness, for you elevating your state of consciousness. But since you were a little kid, you were programmed into a victim mode, into a victim consciousness, where you are, not all of you guys, but we are mostly unconscious of all of this process. And we think that everything that is happening in life is just happening just because. And we think we are literally the victims. Like, I'm not responsible for that toxic relationship. But when you awaken, you realize that something in me was being a mirror for that partner to come through. Now, when you are 5 years old to 17 years old, you go into an institution, schools, and you are highly, totally programmable, right? You need to sit, you need to obey, you need to pass the test. You can't question whether or not the man went to the moon. If you question it, you fail. And then you're given tasks so you can program into your mind whatever it is that they are trying to teach you. Okay? Now, don't try to question the truth, okay? When we look at the news, tragedy, politics, fights, do you think they would gain something by broadcasting positive news, something that empowers? No. We are highly programmable through music, through what we watch, through what we hear, and so we are constantly being disconnected from our true creator essence. And we are in this fight or flight mode, survival mode. And when we are in survival, we cannot have energy to create. Social media, another big one, right? That consumes a large part of our attention. The scrolling, or just staying away from, try to stay one day away from your phone. Most of us freak out. We have that need to see someone text you, someone called you, the notification, something to feel connected. And the more connected we are, paradoxically, the more disconnected we get from ourselves. And this is all intentionally, because when you are really connected to yourself, when you are in your true essence of creator, you master your attention. When you master your attention, you master your 3D, you master your physical reality. Now, how do we change frequencies then so we can shift our reality? Because everything in the Kabbalion says this. This is a very great book. If you guys want to read something and you haven't done so yet, the Kabbalion is one of the best for you to understand this principle. But everything that is in the 4D, which is your mental plane, as above, so below, as within, so without, will reflect in your physical reality. So it's not about taking more actions without changing in the mental plane, because when you just take more actions in the physical reality, in the physical realm, the 3D, but you are in the same frequency, nothing is going to change. You're going to be pulled back to your set point. And so what do I talk about? What am I saying about 4D? What is the 4D? That is your identity, your self-concept, your focus. What are you focusing on? Right? You want to manifest more money, but you want to manifest more money to pay bills, to get rid of all your debt. Bob Proctor, he says this a lot. right? When you're focusing on paying off your debt, your focus is not in abundance, is still on death. And therefore, that's what you are collapsing into your reality. You need to pay attention on your assumptions, what you are assuming most part of the day, and your emotional state. When I say emotional state, forget about this shit of like, I have to vibrate high 24/7, I have to be grateful 24/7, because it's not true. We are humans, we're gonna be stressed out, we're gonna get pissed off sometimes, we're gonna get emotional, we're gonna get sad, we're gonna get happy, especially if you're a woman PMSing, just joking. But emotions are fast, they are transitory, and they're part of human experience. But your feeling state, that's why Neville says about feeling, he doesn't talk about emotion. There is a big difference about feeling and emotion. Emotion is fast, right? Something happens, we pick up information with our five senses, an emotion comes out. But the feeling is a perpetuated emotion, is when you perpetuate that emotion, when you don't alchemize. And so your state, your feeling is what's going to create your reality. That's what Neville says. Now, what most people fail to acknowledge as well is that your body holds the frequency. You think it's just your mind holding your frequency. It's not your body. You are consciousness embodied in a body. And because you are in a body, you need to understand this, and you need to get rid of the old frequencies, somatically speaking. Because just like when you are a little kid, just like a metaphor for you, so it's easier for you to understand, when you put your hand in a hot oven, for example, the stove, and it's hot, you're gonna burn your finger, you're gonna take it out, right? Next time, if it's, you put your hand, automatically, you don't even need to think about it, you're gonna take it out. But the same goes for everything else. The subconscious mind and the nervous system, the number one function, I would say, goal is survival. So when you touch briefly a new frequency, it will pull you back because it's not safe. Imagine this is the hot stove. It will pull you back. It's not safe. Come back to here. Come back to 10K a month, to 2K a month. That's why most people who win the lottery, they lose it all because it's not safe. And so to change frequencies is less about a fight. It's not that there is like some little guy over here in this new frequency that is fighting you, or is not the universe testing you, like so many people say. It's not. How we change frequencies is not by fighting it, is by regulating yourself into the new frequency, is by normalizing the new frequency. Okay? And so, yes, when you are in the terror barrier, that's what Bob Proctor used to call, so many people call different things, but when you are in this transition, because right now you are in homeostasis, like say you're making, I don't know, not 10K, you're making 1K a month, you're in homeostasis. So, right, your subconscious and nervous system wants to keep you in the homeostasis because it's familiar. It wants to keep you with the same self-concept, with the same programming, because it's familiar. Now, once you try to change that, you're gonna have to pass the test. How do you break a pattern? By responding differently. So if your 3D reality still hasn't changed because you are in this frequency over here, if you react the same way, if you entertain the same thoughts, if you assume the same type of things, that you're not going to have enough at the end of the month to pay your bills, that you had to work hard for money, that you cannot rest, otherwise everything's going to crumble down. Your assumptions are hardening your reality, are keeping you in this reality. Now, when you try to shift out of that, your 3D is still the same most of the time. And you need to believe it before you can see it. That's the number one mistake people have, is they think that they need to see this new frequency materializing before they can actually feel differently, before they can actually change their identity, their focus, their assumptions, their emotional state. It's not the case. You need to pass a test. So next time when you have the bills and the sales still didn't come through, instead of panicking, instead of like shouting affirmations louder, you have to regulate yourself. And this process is not an easy process in a sense, because your old identity doesn't want to die. Your subconscious mind, your nervous system wants to keep you safe in the familiar identity. So it is a fight in a sense that you need to become pure consciousness and understand this game so you can finally win this game and master your reality. So if you want more information on how to do this process and you want a step-by-step, a formula on how you can access your subconscious mind, which once again, your conscious mind speaks in thoughts, but your subconscious mind is the one who speaks in frequency. So if you want to work with tools that work directly with the subconscious mind, which by the way is not just repetition or subliminals, because that won't work depending on what type of rules that you have keeping you stuck in this vibration. When we are little kids, we form certain rules, and our subconscious mind, it doesn't operate in the past or future. It's always in the now. So something that happened like when you were a little girl, little boy, is still active in the present as a rule, as a belief. And you can go back and do your inner child healing meditation with your conscious mind. But if you never really access your subconscious mind and the rules that are active in it, you never changed. And that's why most people get stuck, because they try to change reality with the conscious mind, just understanding their trauma, just understanding their beliefs, just understanding whatever crap is happening in their reality. But it's not the conscious mind that materializes, it's your subconscious mind. Is your subconscious mind that is going to give you access to a new frequency, to a new field of possibilities. So if you want to have the latest tools and how to do this, I'm going to link in the description below and in the comments below the access to my formula on how to shift your identity and your subconscious mind. See you guys on the next video. Aloha.